Do you think hookup culture is or can be harmful to men, not women, to men?
I think now I've been thinking a lot about this, and
Mm.
I think, I might be able to give a better answer on this than the previous one. I think it is bad for both men and women, especially the bottom 80%, so to speak. Um, I ever since I've been single, so like when I've been traveling, I've tried Tinder and Hinge and Bumble, and like I've had relative success on that. I wouldn't say like a Giga Chat level, but I've had some success. So it's like, okay, that's okay. But all the women that I met through these apps, all of them were just not happy, and it looked like it was their drug of choice, but they were not happy. They felt that, like they hook up with men, but men just, these apps are just for, casual sex, and they just move on. Whereas as a man, if you're getting some, then you're like, oh, I'm getting something, and then they move on. So they're okay. But I'm sure, like, I look at all the, like I've seen some reviews, and some a lot of videos as well, where a lot of men, they never get a reply from anyone. They get their, they never match. Girls never respond to them, and like, I'm sure it must be horrible for everyone's psyche as well. And also as a man as well, like you like certain girls, you're like, yeah, I hope she responds, but she never does. But someone else responds, on who you're not really very keen. So I don't know. I think yeah, even though I'm single, I deleted all those apps because I was like, man, you know what? This is just, it's not worth my time. I'm probably, there you go. That's what I'm more traditional in. I'm probably more traditional in, like going to the coffee shop, and then if there's a cute barista there, then probably.
Oh, there we go. Some
Yeah, there you go.
tradition.
So I
You
like
like,
that. I
yeah.
like that. If you know someone, if you're a friend of a friend, like you just casual flirting or something, that's probably better. I prefer that rather than, like these. But I think with these apps, it definitely has made casual sex a lot easier. But I don't think it's so. I think that's what you mean by hookup culture. I
Right.
don't think that's good for anyone's mental health, especially women. I think women are probably bigger victims here because some men are like, well, at least I got a bang out of that. More bang for
I
your
don't
buck.
agree with that. I think okay. So hookup culture, I just looked up the definition. Hookup culture is one that accepts and encourages casual sex encounters, including one night stands and other related activity, without necessarily including emotional intimacy, bonding, or a committed relationship. Okay, and I think
Right.
yeah, and I think like the problem with hookup culture is that it takes something that is might be appropriate for younger men. We're focusing on men right now, and encourages that for all men. All right, and I know a lot of people want to say like, oh, men just want sex and women want more intimacy and a relationship and emotional connection, and I just think that's a lot of men just belittling how much men actually do need emotional intimacy. I think a lot of men are hurting themselves and doing themselves a disservice by promoting this idea that we're not emotional creatures. Men like women are extremely emotional creatures, and they they need something much more than sex from a relationship, right? And I think because they've been portrayed to be just much
Tough and
hornier than
strong.
women, yeah,
Yeah.
tough and strong and hornier. They've taken that to the
That they are.
extreme. That they're hornier, but they've taken that to the extreme as if that's the only thing they care about, right? And but having long stable relationships with people who you share things much more than just sex is an essential part of having a healthy mental stability, right,
Mm.
for men. And I think like a lot of men that have been, because at first they discovered their sexuality through just getting laid, they they've been told by society that, oh, this is you're a man, you want sex, you just want sex, and they think like, oh, okay, so this is what I want, and they just never grow out of that phase, and they never learn that they actually have a lot more desires and needs from a relationship than just sex. They don't discover that because hookup culture promotes that idea that, oh, you're a man, you just need sex. So I think that's a harmful aspect of hookup culture for men.
Yeah, I'm not fully convinced that it's all societal brainwashing. I think because men have had this luxury of having committed long-term wives, and they're still looking for multiple sexual partners outside of that. Like they have okay. So they're okay. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so for men, so for example, men would be more greedy then. They'd be like, okay, I have this emotional, stable wife who I like love and respect and everything. But let me go and get some more on the side. But I'm getting my emotional needs fulfilled at this one particular place. But what modern equality culture has done is that women say, no, hang on, if I'm fulfilling your emotional requirements and whatnot, you're not allowed to go anywhere else. So our good old men, they end up fucking up, and then they end up shagging the secretary. All hell breaks loose.
Well, because
okay, and then men shut down. Men are like, you know what? Strong. No way. I'm not gonna cry. I don't need anyone. I'm gonna go fuck rampage.
But I think it's the different needs, right? So let's say you're in a relationship, long-term relationship, and you're in love, okay? And you still can't get your eyes away from that, I don't know, secretary or like cute barista, okay? Because that doesn't mean that you're not in love with that person, right? There's when you're like into a relationship with somebody, there are the feelings that are there at the beginning are different from the feelings that are there 5 years into the relationship, right? There's a different kind of attraction 5 years into the relationship, right? And if those, so at first there's a spark, there is this butterfly, there's this every moment that you just touch, it just feels like there's fireworks, right? But then that dies out for most people. And whether the relationship survives or not depends on whether or not something else replaces it. And what usually replaces it is a sense of intimacy and familiarity and partnership. Okay, convenience maybe, but partnership.
But that's what they call marriage of convenience. That's what they mean by marriage of convenience. Everything is fine. I've got a house. Everything's sorted. Don't break it don't fix it if it ain't broken, kind of thing. And then it's just like dead, boring lives. And then they go to the shrinks, and the shrinks introduces them. Hey, have you tried BDSM? Have you tried like this other activity? Spice it up a little bit. And they're like, and the both are like, maybe women are much more keen. Like, I mean, I've read it. I've seen women say that, okay, you know what? Yeah, let's do something. Like, I've seen these comments from women giving advice to their everywhere, Instagram messages or whatever. Like, let's spice things up. But he's not interested. Of course, he's not bloody interested. He's seen, men are more visual. I'm not denigrating anything, but I'm just saying that this is how it is. But that's what, as men, we are embarrassed. Like that is tied down to your previous sex positivity question, that we're embarrassed to talk about these things, because if you say it, then you're a creep, you're a perv, you're a sick, perverted individual who wants to shag a fucking girl who's half your age. Yes, we do want to do that.
Wait, how old are you? Be careful what you say.
No, 38. Half my age would be what? Oh no, hang on. Yeah. No, yeah, that'll be fine. It'll be 19. It'll be 19. Yeah. I'm fine.
You're fine. For a moment there, you got saved by 1 year. You couldn't say that last year. No.
Yeah, I know. Oh, good. Good save. Good save. You tried your best to get me in trouble.
Yeah.
By the way, I actually got told off a lot by Nuria on one of my streams a couple of weeks ago. She came as a guest. And she was like, your conversation on secular jihadists is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So I wasn't the only one who got told off. Probably she was just telling you off too, but obviously, she didn't name you. She was just naming
That's
you.
part.
That's a part of that sex positivity culture we were talking about.
No,
And the downsides of that.
that's feminine toxicity.
Yeah, feminine toxicity. That's what I said.
Yes, no. Nuria unfortunately has a lot of feminine toxicity. Tries to shame men for their natural desires and put them down. As men, we have to try to resist that. Okay, women trying to come tell us like our desires are valid, our concerns are valid. If women come and try to shame you for it, don't let them. Okay, if men try to shame you for it, don't let them as well. Okay, this is what we're toxic femininity. Don't let that get to you, right?
It's very difficult to, but these are the downsides of it. So so what men do, I haven't been able to verify that, but I did hear it somewhere. I keep forgetting the guy's name. He said that the average testosterone level amongst similar age groups since 1970s has been significantly reducing. So a 38-year-old man back in the 70s would have had higher testosterone than you and me. So I'm like, okay. But then I looked it up. There were other factors involved in that, but he blamed feminism. Like, for example, men can't express themselves. For example, Nuria was mad at me for simply, trying to portraying myself as an alpha male. And I was like, I don't portray myself as an alpha male. I'm just me. Like, I like to speak my mind, and naturally I am a bit of an extrovert. So I do, I don't hide myself, but there's still a lot that I actually don't say. I suppress it just out of fear of people's judgment. So I think maybe these things are problematic. Where somebody called Nuria Khan out. No, poor Nuria. I'm not Nuria. I love you still. Okay, don't worry. We're just discussing this toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. So someone said, "Oh, Nuria was once, ogling over this Bollywood actor that he's hot." But imagine if I say, "Oh yeah, she's hot," people are like, "Oh, what a creep! He's objectifying women." We have developed these double standards, and I think last time you said it, this is overcorrection. In some fields, we really have gone too far, and we've overcorrected. Where I think, yes, men have done a lot of bad things. I mean, human society is a patriarchal society. So when we take credit for the going to the moon and creating these skyscrapers and technology, then we also have to take the blame for all the wars and all the violence that we have inflicted on planet Earth. And
I did not inflict any.
No.
Humans.
I'm talking about patriarchy. Not obviously you individually don't represent that. I'm talking about patriarchy itself. No, but you and I are capable of more violence than, let's say, Susanna or Nuria. You and I are more capable of that.
Yeah, so I should be congratulated for not using it.
Yes, exactly. We deserve a pat on the back. There's a monster inside of us walking around you every day, and we're suppressing it every single day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what's the saying? What's the saying that you'd rather be you should be a warrior in a garden than
I could
a gardener
crush your skull, and I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Well. So we take the blame, but we don't have to overcorrect it. We don't have to just say even go to nice men and just blame them for all the bad stuff in the world.
Right.
I don't know. What do we get?
Yeah, Nuria, it's okay. We forgive you for your toxic femininity.
No. we are more tolerant towards your toxic femininity.
Yes. We see your problems, and also seriously, I'm being serious. Men, don't let people call you creeps for enjoying your natural desires. Okay, it's not about your natural desires are not a problem. The way you express them might be creepy, but having them is not creepy. Okay, so you have to just learn how you communicate those desires in a not creepy way. Okay, and not in a way that doesn't put people off. Okay, but just having them, you're completely fine with having them. Don't worry about it. Get my best-selling book, Why There Is No God, for free. Click on the link for it in the description.